Ma'am, please step forward. Give your full name to the reporter.
Oh, right here? Just face her. My name is Deborah Ann Hardrick. D-E-B-R-A. Hardrick. H-A-R-D-R-I-C-K.
And please raise your right hand and be sworn in.
Please swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Make yourself comfortable. Put that microphone close to your mouth so we can hear you clearly, ma'am. And whenever you are ready, ma'am.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Deborah Ann Hardrick.
And Ms. Hardrick, I want to direct your attention to December 2nd, 2015. Are you aware of something that brings you to court today?
Yes.
And what is it that you're aware of?
The dogs attacking the other boy.
Okay. Now, do you know that boy?
No.
Do you know his family?
No.
Are you familiar with which dogs were the ones that attacked the boy?
Yes.
Okay. And did you get involved in the incident at all?
I sent my son outside.
Okay. Okay. How was it that you became aware that something was going on?
Well, I'm an objective hearsay. If someone told him what was going on, I would be objection.
If someone says...
Yeah, someone told her what was going on.
Okay, she's asking right now how you become aware of something.
How is it that you became aware?
I heard the baby crying when I was in the shower.
You heard a baby crying?
Yeah.
And you said it was crying.
Yeah.
How could you tell that it was crying?
It was just a long cry. I know a baby cry.
Okay. Okay. Your Honor, and was the baby saying anything? And don't tell us what it was saying, but was it saying anything when it was crying or not?
I didn't hear that. I just heard a baby crying.
Okay. And so that caught your attention?
Right.
Okay. And what happened after that?
The cry was a while, and so I peeked out the window, and then I heard somebody hollering, call the police, call the police.
You said hollering. Were they?
It was I heard a lady's voice screaming, call the police, call the police.
Okay. And did you see anything when you looked outside?
I seen the neighbors running.
Okay, you saw neighbors running. And where were they running?
To the corner.
Okay, and were they running to a specific thing at the corner, or do you know?
Well, I didn't see it first until after I got out the shower, and I went in my room, and I looked out the window.
Okay.
And that's when I saw them running to the corner, like I thought somebody had got hit by a car or something.
Okay, you didn't know what
I
happened?
didn't know what exactly had happened.
But you saw that all your
I
neighbors
seen
were
the neighbors running.
I'm sorry, one at a time.
That's okay. Let me finish, and then you can respond. So,
Okay.
so you didn't see at first what happened, but then you saw the neighbors running to the corner.
Right.
Okay. And did you go outside of your house at all?
Yes.
Okay. When you went outside, what did you see?
I saw the neighbors at the corner,
Okay.
and the boys running.
And the boys running?
Right.
Okay. Now, you said something about sending your son. At what point was that?
I came out the shower. I was in the town. I said, my son, go outside. Somebody, they need help. Somebody hollering, call the police.
What's your son's name?
His name is Roy Hardrick.
Okay.
I'm sorry, his last name?
Hardrick.
And when was it that you went outside?
After I put on my clothes, but I just stood on the porch at that point.
Okay. And could you see the house that everyone was running to?
I saw the house.
Okay. Are you familiar with that house at all?
Yeah, I mean, I see it every day.
How long? Are you aware of anyone that lives in the house?
I never seen the guy or the person that stayed there, but I knew somebody stayed there.
Okay. And are you aware of any dogs in the area?
Yes.
Are there any dogs at that house?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
Because they be in the yard.
Okay. Do you know how many dogs?
I only used to see only two. That's what I see. Well, when I'm out, and it'd be two. Like if you walk to that corner, sometimes they let the dogs out, and they just see two.
Okay. Now, what kind of dogs are these, if you know?
Pits.
Okay. And is that pit bulls?
Yeah, pit bull.
Okay. And how long have you been in the area, living in the area?
3 years.
Okay. And how long is it that you've seen the dogs in that yard?
About the last year. So
Have you ever seen the dogs anywhere but the yard?
I see them outside the yard.
Okay. When you see them outside the yard, are they with anybody?
No,
Are they on any sort of leash?
no,
Are they tied up?
no.
Have you ever seen them go in and out of the yard?
No, I didn't see them going in and out of the yard. I see them walking down the street.
Okay.
Like, walking down the block.
Okay. And based on looking at the dogs, do you know, is it the same dogs?
Yes.
That are in the yard?
Yes.
And have you ever had any encounters with these dogs?
No. I see them outside. I'll come back in the house.
And why is that?
Because it was 3 dogs at the time that I saw it. When they be outside the yard, I seen 3 dogs. They was walking down the street, and I just walk in the house. When you see 3 dogs, you walk in the house. You just ain't gonna go outside.
Why is that?
I'm afraid of dogs. I'm afraid of dogs.
Okay. Have you ever been close to those dogs?
When I walk past the gate, and they'll come to the gate, like they be inside the gate, inside the yard, and if you walk on the sidewalk, as I take my granddaughter to school, and they run out, and they're going from the side of the house and start barking.
They start barking?
Yeah.
Do they do anything else?
They just bark at you.
Okay. How does that make you feel?
I mean, we walk on the other side of the street if we know they out. Once we know they out.
Okay. Do you like it when they bark at you?
No.
Are you scared of the dogs when they bark at you?
Yeah.
I don't know how that's relevant. I mean, she, in general, says she's afraid of dogs. I mean, all dogs.
What to say to that, ma'am?
Your Honor, I think it's a relevant question. You can ask for clarification on cross-exam. And have you ever interacted with other dogs?
Like, outside the yard?
Yeah, any
Oh,
dog?
any dogs? I don't have any dogs. I don't care for dogs. I'm a cat person. I don't have a dog at the house.
Okay.
I won't even allow the boys to have a dog.
Okay. Okay. When you went outside and you saw the neighbors running to the house, did you stay outside or did you go anywhere?
I stayed on the porch
Okay.
for a little while.
Okay. What else did you see when you were outside?
I just seen the neighbors panicking. I seen the lady on me sitting on the grass crying, saying, get my baby, stuff like that. I never went on the side of the house. I never walked down the street. I didn't know what was going on.
And you said you did see the police go past?
Yeah.
Did you see the police at the house at all?
They went on the side of the house. I didn't see them. I was getting ready for work, so I just went on back in the house.
Did you hear anything?
Like, here.
Did you hear
Besides the
anything
people.
happening?
I hear gunshots. I heard
Okay.
gunshots, yeah.
When you heard the baby crying, did you hear any other noises then?
Screaming. I heard somebody holler, call the police, call the police.
Okay. And did you hear anything else at that time?
No, I didn't hear anything. I just heard the baby and I heard people.
Could you tell because you're inside, could you tell where that crying was coming from?
Well, my house is right next to a field, so I thought it was the lady kids next door because she has some small children. But she had one small son, so I thought it was him crying at first until I heard her screaming, call the police. So, and then, but other than that, no.
And did you ever see who it was that was crying?
No, never seen it.
Do you know how many times you've seen the dogs roaming in the street, like outside of the yard?
Twice.
Twice. Do you remember making a statement to the police?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
On December 3rd, 2015?
Yes.
And if you said that you had seen them 3 times, would that be accurate?
Yeah. Once inside the yard, twice outside the yard.
Okay. And have you ever said anything to anyone about the dogs being outside?
I mean, to other neighbors, like ask them who own the dogs,
Okay.
to let them know that they out. Those dogs be out. You know, as
So
far as the owner, no.
So you do talk to other people, like saying that the dogs are out?
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Because I just asked the neighbor,
Well,
like,
Judge, I'm gonna
what
check,
you
I don't
mean,
know how
like,
that's relevant, again, to the events that happened on December the 2nd. But the conversations she may have had with all of her neighbors are of no consequence.
I think it's relevant as to, again, we're establishing the dogs, their behavior, what's going on in the neighborhood. It's all elements of knowledge of dangerousness, and so I'm asking her why she did. She can't testify to why other people would talk about, but why she personally was talking to other people about letting them know the dogs are outside. Okay. So why did you feel the need to discuss the
well,
dogs?
I asked one of the neighbors, do they know the owner, to let them know this dogs was out. Because the dogs be out, okay? Now, I live in that neighborhood, I go to work, so if I'm walking out my door and I see 3 dogs walking down the street, I'm walking back in, I got concerns about that. Okay?
Did you ever try to talk to the owner?
I never seen it.
Okay. And have the dogs ever growled at you?
Not at me per se, because I go in out.
Do you remember when you were talking to the police on December 3rd, 2015, say the dogs are at the gate when I go by and they growl?
Yeah, they bark and they growl at us when we walk past his yard.
Okay.
But I thought, like it's just roaming. No, not like that. But when we stay on this block, we go to this. I take my granddaughter to school in the mornings. Okay, we walk to the corner. I'm teaching her how to walk across the street to watch for cars. Okay, she's 4 years old, so I'm teaching her how to walk across the street. Now, we walking across, we going down there, we stop, we walk to that corner house, the dogs will come out and just start barking,
Okay.
And they in the yard, so, yeah, they bark really loud and they vicious. I mean, not vicious, I can't say vicious, but, you frightened, it frightens you, especially if you don't know they're in the yard.
Do you walk any other way because of the dogs?
No.
Okay. And when you see the dogs loose, you go back home?
Yeah, if I see them loose, I go back home, go in the house.
Nothing further from this witness.
Your witness are across the board.
Good afternoon, Ms. Hardrick.
Good afternoon.
You and I have never seen each other or talked to each other, have we?
Never.
Ms. Hardrick, you're familiar with that corner house, are you not?
Yes.
All right. There's already been testimony regarding the layout of the house in terms of it having high fencing on the front side, high fencing on the side, that would be on the service drive side.
Yes.
And also fencing on the area of the alley. You would agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's already been some exhibits admitted that would show that. And I'm going to show you that to see if you would also agree that that's what they show, but I'm going to show it to you by way of a different exhibit. And this would be defense exhibit number C. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry, let me see.
We have answers.
That's right. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Please do.
It was not that.
see that.
It's not numbered, that's not. Your Honor, before I present this proposed exhibit to the witness, we've had a brief discussion, and that is with respect to this photograph that has a date in red that says 12/2/2015. What we don't know is whether it was taken by one tech or somebody else, but I don't know that that's an issue other than we eventually identify who took the picture. But it came from the discovery that the prosecution did.
Yes. Yeah, and there's no objection to its admission or that it's fair and accurate representation.
All right.
Well, I'll move for admission, then, Judge, move it along.
All right, let's do that. Yes, so we're good for exam purposes only?
Defendant's Exhibit C. And I wrote in the back, tech photo, because we don't know whether that's, we know it's a tech photo, but we don't know who.
Great.
Now may I approach you? Okay. I'm going to show you what's now been admitted as Defendant's Exhibit number C, and ask you whether this photograph fairly and accurately reflects that house you've been telling us about.
Yes.
All right. And now I'm going to show you, well, before I do that, is it fair to say that in the corner that leads to the alley, there are two fences actually there? Is that right?
Right here?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be by the alley. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification purposes as Defense Exhibit A and Defense Exhibit B, and ask you whether this photograph shows a close-up of the same area you just told us about that's in the alley portion.
I don't know, it's the same, but it looks like.
Well, it's not the same picture. It's a different picture. But this would be this corner here. This is the alley, would you agree?
Uh-huh.
And in front of that gate area there, that's the sidewalk?
Yeah.
Okay, and then over where your left thumb is, that's the area of the driveway that goes into the yard of this gentleman's house? The one you're holding now?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be the corner that is on the west side of the service drive and on the north side of Bayless.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
You say yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, all right. And does that picture now refresh your memory, and does it fairly and accurately depict that corner area of this gentleman's house?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Okay. Now, move for admission of Defense Exhibit B, Your Honor.
Oh. No objection, I thought it was already admitted.
So stipulated?
Well, I'll move to admit A as well, Judge.
And there's no objection.
All
Okay.
right. For exam purposes only, that's A, B, C.
Yes. Now, I'm going to show you Defense Exhibit A and ask you whether that picture, as best as you remember the premises, also reflects the area of the fencing by the alley and in the front of the sidewalk area.
Yes.
Okay. And does the picture reflect that, in fact, there are two fences that run parallel to the alley?
I mean, yeah, it clearly shows it is.
Okay. So in addition, well, see, the judge doesn't know that. The judge never seen
yeah.
that, so we have to have testimony.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing is, I would make an objection. Defense has already said the photos speak for themselves. So in terms of the photos show what they show. If he's asking her specific questions, that's one thing. But his own objection earlier was the photo speaks for itself. Just for her to basically be reiterating what's in the photo, I think it's cumulative and repetitive at this point. It's already been admitted.
I think it's appropriate on cross-examination.
Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Reiterate what's in the picture?
Well, because I think that I need her to identify what's in the picture more accurately than just saying, here's an exhibit.
Well, what about the aspect of, does this represent the house as you know it, and that's it? And then that way she testifies that it is or isn't, and then speak to herself.
I would do as instructed. Ms. Hardwick?
Madam, but
Yes.
there's an objection, and I'm going to sustain that objection.
Okay. Just for the record, does that photograph fairly and accurately reflect what you have observed in the past as being the corner of that alley at that house?
Yes.
All right. Then if I may approach the bench, I'll let you look at it. Then you can tell us whether the picture speaks for itself.
Publishing at this point?
I am, Your Honor.
All right. Okay.
Now, Ms. Hardwick,
Yes.
would you agree with me that in general, you don't like dogs?
No, not like that. I mean,
Oh,
I just don't like them. I mean, yeah. I don't like dogs like
Oh,
that.
that was my
I just don't
impression.
like a dog. I just don't. They're not a pet that I would pick for me.
okay. And as to these specific pits that resided or were at the Bayless property that is described in this photograph, those pits have never attacked you, have they?
No.
And those pits have never, in fact, done anything to you, have they?
No more than bark.
Okay. All right. Don't be offended by this question. I don't mean to be offensive. But other than growl and bark, have these pits done anything to you?
Your Honor, I'd object, ask and answer that was finished.
Just trying to clarify. I want to make sure that we're talking about these pits. Other than,
Clear.
pardon?
And you asked that, ma'am, yeah.
I did?
And since the defense counsel has, so your objection is sustained, since he has published his photos that were admitted, Mrs. photos, are you posting yours at this time as well?
Your Honor, I can publish them now so you have all of them.
Yeah,
I was,
I'm gonna look at them. Anything else, sir? Sorry to interrupt you.
Would it be fair to say, Ms. Hardwick, that you have never seen anyone involved in any training or any schooling or any manipulating in any way of these pits inside that yard?
I ain't never seen the owner of the dog.
Okay. So, even though, at least according to this statement you gave to the investigators, that you personally had problems with these dogs, you never had any problems with these dogs, had you?
The personal problem that we have with them dogs, they walking down the street when we trying to come out of our homes.
Okay.
That's the problem that we was having with the dogs.
Okay.
Now,
On
I
two
came out-
occasions?
2 occasions,
Okay.
right. That's all it takes for me.
Okay.
2 occasions.
And that's because
And it's more than one dog walking down the street together.
and that's because in general you're afraid of dogs.
No, it's not in general because I'm afraid of dogs. If you see a pack of dogs and you walk out of your house that don't have an owner with them, generally you just go in your house. I mean, out of fear or out of the fact that it's 3 pit bulls walking down the street.
I thought you said 2.
It'd be 2 in the yard. I only seen 2 inside the yard. I see 3 walking down the street.
Okay. So it really is a personal choice on your part to just go inside the house and don't be bothered with them dogs, is that right?
Your Honor, I'd object. She asked and answered this line of questioning multiple times.
You want to say something? He never asked if it was a personal choice, though. He didn't.
Well, I would object that the questions are now becoming cumulative. And she's going to answer how she's going to answer, and him asking in a different way isn't going to change her answer. Her testimony's been consistent with the different ways it's been asked, and so it's cumulative and repetitive and unnecessary.
What do you want to say to that, sir?
Well, Judge, I think that in some sense the prosecution is correct that she's testified that she's afraid of dogs, don't care for dogs, and that's the problem she had with these dogs. And if that's what it is, then I'll live by that testimony.
Objections to that. Any redirect?
Briefly, Your Honor. Now, you said you never saw the owner of these dogs.
Not like saw him like in the yard or one. No.
Yes. And so did you ever see anyone playing with these dogs?
No.
Did you ever see anyone walking these dogs with a leash?
No.
Did you ever see anyone walking with these dogs outside of the yard?
No.
Did you ever see these dogs have any human interaction in the time that you were around?
No.
Nothing further.
All right. Well, thank you, ma'am, for your testimony today.
You're welcome.
Are you going to step back the same way you came?
Your Honor, may I just go step into the hall? And is that witness released for the day?
If you all have no, well, you never know if witnesses will be called for rebuttal. You
Yeah, I
never
do.
know.
I did tell her she might have to come back, but at this point, given that we were going to end probably around 3 o'clock, can I release her for the day and have her come back on another day?
Because the deputies and the lockup, that club shuts down at 3. We're ending at 3 definitely. That guy delivering lunch? You delivering lunch? For the whole courtroom? No?
I wish I was still here.
Just wondering. I don't think anybody in here today has had lunch. Unless you're hard.
I had a case of vodka by the brother. I kind of know.
Don't give me thoughts.
Thank you, Your Honor. Given the time, I think that the next thing that people would like to do is we've now published the photographs. The defense has published their photographs. We would also like to publish the medical examiner's report. Would you like to hold on to that at this time, or?
Well, I have these, so I might as well.
Okay.
Might as well.
It's not stapled. I don't have a
Okay.
paper clip, but yeah. And then we would also like to publish the video at this time, and I am in the process of. So the medical report is people's, it's already been admitted, Exhibit 1, and now we're going to publish people's Exhibit 2. And can the court see this?
Let me
And
step down, but I'm fine.
okay, and defense counsel, can you see it? Can you make sure your client, if he wants to see it, he can see it? Because I can move it.
We're good.
Now, Your Honor, the video starts at approximately, it starts at 11.
Is it possible you could move, curve that over so I can see it a little better? And
Yeah,
move it up a little bit?
Yes, however Your Honor would like. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
How long approximately?
So, Your Honor, the video itself is about 1 hour. We're not going to be playing the full hour. It starts at 11:0003 approximately. I am going to skip forward. And you can see in the videos there are 4 different camera angles. I'm going to, you can see in some of the camera angles at 11:00:35, 3 dogs, 4 dogs. And I'm going to skip ahead to approximately 11:38. And these dogs are inside the yard at this time.
Before you do that?
Yes.
So view number 1 is the back of the house?
I don't know if that's the back or the side. Is that the back or the side?
I am not going to testify for the
Okay.
prosecution, and I was hopeful that you wouldn't because it's an exhibit and she can view it. But for purposes of identification, I think the officer in charge is probably the better one that can tell us what particular sites they may be.
Okay.
And we can ask them questions if they need to be.
Well, as part of, I can put the officer in charge on later to testify. I was hoping as part of the stipulation we could at least point this out. But if not, then we can have the officer in charge testify, and this is no longer a stipulation.
1 second.
I think, Your Honor, that the officer in charge can identify what each frame depicts, and then you can view whatever you see on it. I don't know what frame 1 is or frame 2 is. I know what frame 3 and 4 is. You go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
So
we
I
can
have
do
a
that
problem with the
afterwards.
officer telling us that. I just don't.
Is there an objection to having the officer?
We don't have to say anything else. I said, hold on, let me look at the pictures that have been published. I can see for myself.
Continue, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Well, in lieu of having the officer in charge have to be called, can we have him, I mean, I believe this was already stipulated too, that this is the home in question and this is the yard.
That's
So-
an accurate stipulation, Judge.
Okay, so in terms of the video, it speaks for itself, and Your Honor can see that. Okay. May I skip ahead now? All right, I'm going to skip ahead, and just for the record, in the different frames, we have seen the dogs inside the fenced-in area. We just saw, I'm going to back up a little bit, because we just saw around 11:03. We see the dog in frame 4, for the record. For the record, there are 4 dogs in frame 4. Appears to be along the side of the street. See an individual riding by on a bicycle, and then we see the dog run towards the direction of the bicycle inside the fence, and then we no longer see them in frame 4, but we see them in frame 3, which appears to be the front of the home.
Judge, I guess I have a problem with the prosecution testifying and telling you what...
Oh, I'm sorry, frame 2, frame 2. Frame 2, which appears to be the front.
I would object to the prosecution narrating what you can obviously observe for yourself.
It speaks for itself.
Thank you. So I would say run it and then you decide what you see.
For the record, I believe that for the record to be clear of what's in the video, sometimes we do need to depict it. Also, defense counsel on cross-examination seems to think it's okay to clarify what's being shown, but then on direct, when the prosecutor is doing, there's objections. I'm not giving any opinions, I was just simply describing what appeared in the video.
It's clear.
Skipping ahead. I skipped ahead to 11:37:50. Your Honor, I couldn't see the video. For the record, pause this at approximately 11:53:52. The entire video surveillance that has been downloaded has been admitted for the purposes of publishing specifically to the court. I believe we don't need to play the rest of the video, but it's available for the court to view the rest.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, I believe that it'll take more than 20 minutes for our next witness. I don't know if you would like us to start her or start with her tomorrow. Okay.
So we're in recess at this particular time. I'll let counsel refer to if there's anything else they want to do report.
Your Honor, before we break for the day, I believe that there's an additional stipulation between the prosecution and the defense, and that is that people's or the stipulated evidence, that surveillance tape that the court just observed was voluntarily surrendered by my client to the authorities.
Yeah, in as much as that wasn't covered by the previous stipulation, I believe, at least in terms of the discovery orders we have placed on the record, the defendant did give consent to the officers, and that is how this tape was obtained. But
okay. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Your Honor, I have one housekeeping matter, and I don't know if we'll be able to address it, but given that defense counsel has asked for an order for his client, the defendant, to see the kids talk in the jail. I'm not sure if that's something that can happen tonight. I don't know if that's something that is even going to be able to be attempted. So I was wondering, is this something that we're going to try to have happen tonight, or is it something we know won't happen tonight? Because I don't want to have the children have to come back tomorrow if we know that's not going to be happening. We're ready to go. We're available, but just given the time, given some of the issues, I don't know how procedurally with an order, if he can just show up and have the order from the court giving him permission. But I just wanted to address that. And if we don't know, if he's going to make an honest effort, I will have the kids here tomorrow.
He hasn't even drafted up orders.
Yeah, so that's what.
Happen soon, but
yeah, so that's why I was asking, in all fairness, as best as we can predict, do we believe that there is going to be the ability for the kids' talk to be viewed before tomorrow, and do the kids need to be here tomorrow?
Judge, if I could predict the future, I'd be buying the numbers for the big lotto winning. I don't know what's going to happen between now and the end of the visiting hours that are permitted. I need to prepare the order and bring it to you for review and entry. Obviously, the prosecution. I don't run the jail. Benny Napoleon has a good handle on that. And he would have to, along with his people, review the order and give us the permission to come in. I don't know what they would require in terms of timing, logistics, and things of that nature. But perhaps if we review the tape in my office, and we can get here, there's a location here, I won't have to worry about what the jail does. I can have my client review the tape here tomorrow between 8:30 and 9:30 while you take care of other matters.
I also believe...
But there's still, once you see that, there's still the issue of whatever you decide as far as the witnesses are concerned.
Well, that issue isn't going to go away. And the question becomes whether that testimony is admissible and under what rule of evidence the prosecution reports it being admissible, and then you need to make a ruling on it. So I think I need to review it, look at case law, and be prepared to present to you what I think is the defense best view, and then let you hear from the prosecution.
I'm just trying to avoid, we have 2 children that have been here all day, trying to avoid that happening again tomorrow unnecessarily.
Because I hear that about inconvenience all the time. My client's been locked up since December the 2nd on a $1 million bond, and I guess I can argue that he's been inconvenienced too. But, you know, we can't predict what happens in court cases. So I guess the bottom line is, we recess for today, we do the best we can, and that's the way it works.
That is the way it works. We'll try to look at it, but maybe the court can make a determination as to, see, the court believes that this is going to go on for the court. If you only called, the prosecutor has only called 2 witnesses so far. You know, you have to get more. So,
Well, Judge, in fairness, the stipulations did away with a large number of those witnesses because...
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we
You're
don't
right.
know.
You're right.
You know, you never know. That's the point of it. And so, considering, I have to get the order, considering he has to look over the information on video with his client, considering he needs to argue anything he has tomorrow regarding that. I don't know if it's going to go, maybe he can continue what he's doing today, but maybe the actual calling of the witnesses, maybe you don't have them come tomorrow, maybe you have them come another time. That's what I'm thinking. We best work it out. Because I don't want to not proceed with the examination. I still want us to continue, but maybe wait until later for, you know, and I don't want to tell you how to present your case.
Yes.
But given the time constraint, I think we're going to do as much as we can tomorrow, and then I'll see you after the holiday.
Okay.
I think that's what might happen.
Okay.
I think that's what might happen. I have, so far, 6 examinations tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen with those. But counsel said we're all doing the best we can. So we'll see you tomorrow. Don't have the kids come here tomorrow, okay?
Thank you. I will.
Because he needs to argue, and then we'll just, tomorrow, after we're done with this, we'll make a date for the new year. And know that that first week is swamped too.
And what I will do is I will see if the children can be on standby, if that's possible. But I know that their guardians are people who are supposed to be here, so it might not be possible to have them be on standby. But in as much as we can, we'll do that in case there's the ability. But
Yeah,
I appreciate the court's flexibility with the children.
I'm sorry, I know they're probably out of school now.
Yes.
You know, they'll probably have to take off school. They come back later on. So we're all just doing the best we can, trying to work with it. So thank you. There's nothing else. Court's in recess. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I don't need to bench. I just stay here. Thank you, though. I certainly appreciate that, sir. That was mighty nice of you.
Give me respect.
God, thank you so much. I'm not one of the Supremes. I just wait.